Veterans are fighting back. They are standing up for what they believe in. And remember, when they joined the armed forces, whether that's the Royal Navy, Royal Air Force or the British Army, they signed an oath to protect, well, back then, Queen and King of country, and all of its citizens, whether that's domestically or foreign. You may have seen a video clip going around over social media. There's actually quite a few big names posting it. Billy Billingham. I've seen, is it Melvin Downs? Melv. All from Celebrity SAS, who Des Wins, SAS, who Des Wins, posting this video clip as well. People have had enough, but let's play the clip. Comment below what your thoughts are. Be interesting to see what you've got to say on this.
Right, we've come down today to emphasise our homeless as opposed to the ones that are being put up in the hotels at the moment. What we want to know is how come there's funding for these refugees but there's never been any funding for our soldiers? No funding for our civilians that are sleeping on streets? And that's what we want answers to.
What do you think about them housing these migrants in 4-star hotels? The fact that in Canary Wharf they were able to house these migrants from Epping overnight, but you've got thousands of homeless veterans on the streets.
Whichever way we look at it, if they're getting 4-star accommodation, why aren't our veterans? Okay, veterans sleeping in doorways, veterans sleeping in tents, veterans freezing to death. Princess Diana, one of her pallbearers that carried her to her grave, froze to death in a doorway 3 years ago. They ain't on, mate. It's not right.
And if you could deliver one message to Keir Starmer, what would it be?
That looks awesome.
Right, there it is. There's a clip. There's a whole video of it. You can go and watch it. I will post the original video in the description. Veterans are marching. First of all, let's talk about it. Veterans being homeless, and then we'll go on to sort of like the immigration crisis and the issues. When veterans leave the armed forces, a lot of them do actually struggle. People leave the armed forces, they struggle mentally, they lose that sort of social, that brotherhood, they lose their sense of purpose, they struggle to get jobs as well. A lot of things that you do within the military, even though you're looking after £1 million worth of kit, you're in charge of all sorts of kit and equipment, missiles, it could be anything, in charge of people. That does not always transfer across into civilian streets. It can be quite hard to get a job sometimes. They sometimes, relationships struggle as well when they leave because they're struggling. So it's a massive issue. So some of them do end up homeless. I've tried to do research with numbers. It's quite hard to find the exact numbers, but way too many veterans should be on the streets. Personally, I think veterans should be really helped when they leave. I'm okay, I don't really need it, but there are veterans out there, and I know there are charities, but I think more should still be done. These guys, some people may not agree with it, but they have gone on tour, they have gone to countries, they have put their life on the line to protect the country and its population. But then the same goes for just your standard civilians, okay? For those that have not served, right? We should not actually have any homelessness. There are people out there with loads of money living comfortably, okay? Not saying that they should fund it, but there's such disparities that we need to do something. We've got people living in extremely wealthy positions, and then we've got just people who are just left on the streets. Then what happens across is we have this crisis. I'm all for migration, okay? One day maybe I may even look to go abroad in the future. If people want to come to the UK, come to the UK. But it's got to be through legal routes. You've got to self-fund yourself. You've got to do all the correct paperwork. Yes, I'm all for saying, and people do disagree with me when I say this, if you are leaving a dangerous country and you want to protect yourself, your family and your children, sometimes you may have to claim asylum, okay? But that's not always the case, as we are seeing. Tactically, the UK and France need to do more. You've got these migrant camps in Calais, in woodblocks. They know where they are and they're doing nothing about them. They're just letting them sit there, and then they wait. The boats come, they jump on the boats, they cross, and then they do something about it. Why are they not, the UK and France, deploying French troops into Calais, rounding them up where they are there, and then processing them and doing what they need to do when they've got them there? But to the point, there is funding. We know that migrants have been put up in hotels. We don't want them on the streets. They're coming across. You do have to house them somewhere. Do they need to be in 4-star hotels? Do they need to be given loads of money? Do they need to give them phones and all sorts? Most probably not. But they do need to be housed somewhere, because once they come across, if you just leave them on the streets, they're going to disperse, and then you're going to have issues processing them, sending them back, keeping them, or whatever it is. So they do need to be housed somewhere. They do need to be kept somewhere where they can be processed, also where they're off the streets, away from everyone else, where it's all safe. So the point is, if there's funding for that, why have we not got more funding for homeless people? Yes, there are shelters out there. I believe the majority of them are volunteer workers. They work off charity. Why are the government not putting a percentage of GDP or have a pot where we can hopefully one day prevent homelessness completely? Why can we not build these sort of hotels, these houses for our veterans, for our citizens? I think it's an absolute brilliant point and an absolute brilliant march. Like I said, I'm not against migration. I'm not for violence. Right? If you want to protest peacefully. If you've got something to say, you should be allowed to say it, but make sure it's peaceful. I'm all for it. And I'm all for obviously sticking up for our veterans and our citizens. So I think he's got an absolute brilliant point here. Why is there all this funding? Why is it we can home them as soon as they come over, whether it's in a camp, okay, whether they're in immigration centres, whatever it is, we've got the funding to build them, we've got the funding to house them, to feed them, to clothe them, give them mobile phones. Why have we not got the funding to build a homeless shelter on a scale of an immigration centre so that we can go around to every homeless person and say, we're going to move you in here. It's going to be a small room, nothing special, just a bed. You'll have toilets, you'll get fed. End off. They don't need anything else. Get them off the streets, get them away from alcohol, get them away from drugs. But it doesn't have to be 5-star or 4-star for any of them. But if we've got the funding to bring them over, where they come over, to house them, why can we not do it with our citizens? Why can we not do it with our veterans? We don't want anyone on the streets, okay? It's not safe for them and it's not safe for the people. Why can we not do this? And I think we need to continue to protest peacefully, continue to say what you've got to say peacefully until something is done about it. When it comes to obviously the migration issue, the immigration issue, why are we not picking them up at source? At the minute, obviously, we know they're making their way through their home countries, through all these other countries to France and then across the English Channel. Why are we not picking them up in Calais and processing them? Why are we waiting for them to get on a boat to come across, make the dangerous crossing, then we process them? I'd love to know your thoughts on this, so please do comment below. I'll be very interested on what you've got to say. So thank you for watching. If you'd like to hear more, then please do subscribe, turn notifications bell on. I appreciate all of your support. Remember, Combat Ready HQ, go and check out our coffee. It's absolutely brilliant. Support us by grabbing a t-shirt as well, or one of our thermal tumblers. Never be beaten, and I'll see you soon.